How does he look? How does Drake Maye look?
He looks good. I think the thing that stands out to me is just how much progress he's made. Like, he's clearly taking the coaching, and it's going into effect. His footwork looks completely reworked from where it was at UNC. I think he's really developing.
The footwork looks completely... I'm just going to stop you. Give me specifics.
So it was all kind of a mess. He had two different offensive coordinators who used two different footwork packages in the 2 years.
Two different footwork packages.
Yeah. So
was he on the Klutz package at UNC?
They tried to get him on the Twinkle Toes package.
Some offensive coordinators, you're in the shotgun, want the right foot forward. Some offensive coordinators want the left foot forward. You remember Peyton Manning was like square up to the quarterback, right? When you backpedal, which foot do you step with? And
Alex Van Pelt said the other day, we are a left foot forward offense.
That is big. That is big for them.
So keep going. This is what I want, Barth. I want the specific of it.
So basically, in 2 years, trying to drill in two different footworks after the kid essentially didn't play football for 2 years. His senior season of high school was canceled by COVID, and then he redshirted his true freshman year. And now all of a sudden he's seeing footwork coming at him left and right. Yeah, he was stumbling over himself a little bit. We talked about this a lot leading up to the draft, and that was a big question. How quickly is he going to adapt to an NFL system where the footwork leads to the timing, lines it all up, and he looks like he's tremendously taken the coaching. I'm not going to sit here and say it's perfect. He's still got a way to go, but for whatever they had, 9 practices, he's come a very long way in that regard. And I think that's really encouraging because it all starts from the footwork up. Go ahead.
Well, no. So he's now playing left foot forward?
Yes. All the quarterbacks are. That's their
left
offensive
foot forward
philosophy. Yep.
Tell me why.
So Van Pelt's talked about this in length. Basically, they just believe a lot of their quicker passing concepts. When you start with the left foot forward, you can 3-step drop, back foot, and throw quicker.
As a righty, you'd be more ready, I feel like.
Yeah,
left
exactly.
Foot forward. You're already in that motion.
So that gets you back to your third step quicker?
Yeah.
And that is the old West Coast offense is 3-step slant.
Exactly.
The third step is an important, the old school West Coast, that's like the backbone of it.
They also feel like when you're in your throwing motion, when you're right shoulder, your left foot's in front. So if it's something where it's like, a quick pump fake or they want him to start moving right away or something like that, if your right foot's forward and you're a righty quarterback, you got to twist around so you're squared up before you start moving. So this way he's almost like, if you think about it, your feet are pointing forward, but if you point them to the side, now you're essentially in your throwing stance. So I think Van Pelt just believes that everything can happen quicker when you start with that left foot in front.
And you're seeing it.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. That's
Go
what
ahead,
they're all doing.
Mazz. Yeah.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Yes.
If your left foot's forward, what foot do you step with first?
So some of it depends on the play, but generally the left foot. You may have something, if it's like a designed roll, you may step right first in order to, move laterally, but generally left foot.
See, here, this Mazz does this all the time. We got into the weeds a little bit. We gave you a little bit of insight, some inside football, nice, clean sort of thing. And then Mazz asks one more question that confuses you. And now it's like, no, wait a minute. It's what? And kind of, now we got to really think about it.
Well, think about it. If your left foot's forward, right? And we're talking straight.
Yeah. Well, this is, again, I'm sorry I get into excruciating detail. but if the left foot's good, you said it gets you in a throwing motion quicker. If your left foot is your first step, you're not in your throwing motion quicker. It takes longer. So it's got to be your right foot first, because then the third step would be the right foot.
No, but if it's your right foot first, then you have a wider base, so you keep like a standard base the whole time.
Can I tell you honestly?
Mazz calls bull crap on the left foot forward.
I do. I call bull crap on the left foot forward, and I call bull crap on Drake Maye's foot problem being, I say his footwork problem being fixed. Because the first time someone is bearing down on him, ready to crack his head open, he's going to start shuffling his feet like he's Scotty Scheffler at the U.S. Open.
I've been saying this for months. The first time he gets hit in the honker, he'll be Fred Astaire out there with his feet are going to be all over the place. So forget about all that crap.
Exactly.
I'll be honest, I'm getting sick of writing at the beginning of every notebook. This all comes with the caveat of non-contact, non-padded. It can all change. I go back to the first year I covered the team. There was a receiver, Maurice Harris, and he was a burner. He was like 6'2", thin, fast, and I was out there thinking they've finally got the guy because he's running by everybody. And then the day the pads came on, you never heard from him again. And that was a lesson learned. So, this all comes with a caveat, especially as we can get to the offensive line, what that's looked like. This all comes with the caveat of, well, there's no real contact yet, so it's easier to make everything look nice and clean.
You think Maye is looking better, though?
I do think he's looking better.
And he is making progress?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I had someone say to me, I'm not going to reveal his name, but someone who knows football, isn't a beat guy, isn't a reporter necessarily, but is reporter adjacent, Patriots adjacent, been following the team closely for a long time, okay? Came up to me and said, I went out there today, and the offense, oh my God, is it horrible. It is wretched, he said.
Yeah, so who sucked, Barth?
So that's where we bring in the offensive line. That's where, because when they're in 7-on-7, and tell me if this sounds familiar, when they're on 7-on-7, the ball's moving, it's not hitting the ground, yada, yada, yada. You go into 11-on-11, it's another story. The last couple days, they've been doing these periods where they put either a minute or two on the clock, and you got to go 50 yards, 75 yards, field goal, touchdown, whatever. And I think Brissett got them to a field goal yesterday. That was the only score in about 6 or 7 reps. And each quarterback got a touchdown today in about 8 total reps. So the defense is winning those periods, and it's been up front. The interception Drake Maye threw today, they blitzed Marte Mapu from the second level. I mean, he came right through. He came right through. Nobody saw him. Mays got him right in his face, tried to kind of sidearm it around, thought he had a guy open, corner jumps it, and probably would have been a pick 6. Jacoby Brissett threw a similar pick on Monday to Kyle Duggar. They're still experimenting with different groups. I don't think they know what their best 5 is, and they have time, right? It's June, but I said this to you guys when I came on after the draft. I don't feel like they did enough to address the offensive line. They left themselves too many question marks, and you're seeing it now where trying to find, okay, what's the best 5? What's the permutation that works? It really feels like it's going to be an experiment.
Well, they didn't address the wide receivers either, so are they sucking as well as the offensive line?
Well, they did more. Like, Jalen Polk's been good. Jalen Polk's had a good camp. He's one of these guys where, like, I don't know that he has this, overwhelming, glaring strength, but there's no weakness. He's running a very diverse route tree. He's competitive at the catch point. He's got good size. He's dominating the corners. He should dominate just off physicality alone, and normally you don't see those guys pop until the pads come on. So I've really liked what I've seen from him. Javon Baker flashed a little bit, but he was limited the last few days, so I can't say as much about him. And then Pop Douglas looks like he's taking another step. And he's another guy, smaller. We'll see when the pads come on. But he is uncoverable right now. Nobody can stay with him. He's been getting open left and right. It's just the quarterbacks haven't always had time to find him.
He had a good day today, right? Douglas did?
Douglas, yeah, another good day today. Finished on a high note. I thought Monday he was excellent, but he had another good day today, too.
Juju Smith-Schuster couldn't get separation by someone from the name of Aziz.
Azizi Hearn has like 2 picks this spring. He kind of came out of nowhere, but Juju's he had one day, I think it was the last day OTAs, that we were like, okay, Juju Smith-Schuster, here he is. But since then, he's kind of faded back. And I mean, I'm working on my roster projection right now. It'll be up tomorrow, 985sportshub.com. Spoiler alert, I have him off. I still don't see his path to making this team.
So the offensive line, Caden Wallace played some at left tackle today, correct?
Finally, yeah. So he'd mostly been at right, which I think he's a better right tackle, but they drafted him and they talked about him playing left, and they need left tackles. But the thing is, if you're going to make that switch, it's so difficult. You'd think they'd give him as many opportunities there as they can, and he's been at right most of the spring until today, and it was more even split today. So maybe that continues into the summer, but it feels to me like they're trying some other things now, where maybe he's at right tackle, moving Michael Nwenu inside, experimenting with that as a potential best 5. Because then that leaves you thin at left tackle.
That all being said, the offense, what are you looking at here this year, Barthy?
I mean, it's going to be better. I think just once Drake Maye comes in. I think it's going to be better once Drake Maye comes in. What it was last year, just because of his natural athletic ability. But I still, they were the worst pass blocking team in the league last year by a number of major metrics, and some of them, like historically, in the last 10 years back. If that's going to be the case again, that puts such a ceiling on it. And as much as people want to get on Mac Jones, I'm not excusing him from last year, but the pass rush is the pass blocking is where it all started. And if they can't get their 5 set, I think they could have some similar issues this year in terms of, even if what they want to do works in theory, if you don't have time to set any of it up, what does it matter?
How are they going to play? What's their style?
A lot of play action. I think it's going to be run to set up the pass. And I think you're going to see them, especially once Maye comes in, move the quarterback around a lot, reset the pocket. It plays to his play strength, and it kind of mitigates their issues in the offensive line. I think you're going to see a lot of rollouts, so that goes to receivers who can play outside the numbers, guys like Jalen Polk, a guy like Jalen Reagor if he makes the team, some of the tight ends. But I think we're going to see the quarterbacks on the move a good amount, and they're going to pound the ball.
I can tell you right now how they're going to play. Okay, run right, +1 or +2. Run left, no gain. 3rd and 8, incomplete, sack, or pick. 4th down, punt. That's what it's going to be.
Mazz was shaking your head in the middle of your description.
Their line's going to blow again. I can't believe that they're doing this again, that it's the same freaking thing. Like the whole, you don't need to block? Like, well, who needs to do that? Like, why do you need to block? Who needs to block? Let's not pick any linemen. And they signed, the other thing that's going up my ass every time I read it is that they paid Onwenu $20 million, and they're giving him time at right guard in minicamp. For what? You're going to move your right tackle to right guard because your other guys are going to be so good? Oh, yeah, that's going to work. Like, well, what the hell's Onwenu getting time at right guard for? You paid him $20 million to play right guard? Who made that decision? See, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, Mazz.
That's idiotic.
I mean, I think once the guys are here, you're trying to find the best 5, but ideally it doesn't get to that point. You sign him as a right tackle. Ideally, he's playing right tackle, but I would rather them move him to right guard if that's the best 5 than, well, they can't block anything, but we got to keep him a tackle because that's where we paid him, so we're going to put him out there. It's not a great situation either way.
I'm sure the Crafts are going to love that. Let's give him $20 million. He's our highest paid lineman, and well, but our best 5's with him at right guard. Oh, okay. Yeah, great. When the tackle's contract comes up, let me know how that goes. Like, forget it. No shot.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.